Can you see me? No, you can't.
No, I cannot.
You
Oh,
can see. Oh my God, I don't know how to take myself out of Paris.
stop it.
Oh, hold on, Jason, can you please help me? I'm in Paris. My friend, oh my God, my friend had a happy hour for her birthday and she loves Paris. And this was in April, and I've never been out of Paris since.
Oh,
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
we're back.
Wow, what a way to find out how pale I am. Amazing.
So funny. You can lower the light, by the way. You know what I mean?
Um, what are you talking about?
You
Okay, super amazing.
know what's worse? That I'm pale and I live in Miami.
Uh,
So
because I was trying to explain it to Jason. He was like, I told him like I hardly went to the beach, I hardly went to the pool, and he's like, how? And I'm like, because if you have things, you don't use those things.
don't use them.
Like
No,
I have a deep conditioner in my shower. You think I deep condition my fucking hair? Absolutely not.
you're so
You know?
no. No.
Yeah,
How are you today?
I'm good. It's been a crazy. It's today and yesterday have been so I haven't okay, I remember this one thing, this sounds sad. When working was a thing and we would have jobs, it like I remember saying to myself all the time, like, wow, the day like really gets away from you. Like shit that like my mom would say. And I'm like, oh my God, KB. Like now, today was the first time since like I want to say April, May, that I was like, wow, the day really got away from me. And I'm just in the middle of like a billion projects, and Molly, who's like one of my besties, is someone who like I used to have friends who we would be like having an idea, talking about like brainstorming things, and we'd be like, yeah, one day. Where Molly is someone who like 9 a.m. the next day. So I've set up the webpage. Like she's someone who like really she's a doer, you know,
That's amazing.
and it's
That's,
incredible.
that is rare. There are so many things we talk about doing, but we never get
Oh, never. And we never do because like it's raining
right.
or like I stayed up too late last night,
I'm
you
tired.
know?
Yeah, that's like the usual. I'm tired.
I'm really tired. Like I need to do something at 5 and it's like noon. Like I remember I would have work at like when I worked in Miami and like retail and stuff, or like a styling job or something. They'd, they'd be like, "Do you want to hang out?" It's 10 a.m. Like, no, I have work at 6. I can't. So, but yeah, so she's like a doer or whatever, and we have a bunch of ideas, and we're trying to like sell our show to like these networks, and we're partnering with a production company. So it's like a bunch of meetings, and we're trying to design new like merch and stuff like that. So, and by we, I mean I thought I'd be doing it on Microsoft Paint, and she was like, "Oh, sweetie." So yeah, so it's just been a whirlwind of a day, and then I also have to like maintain my relationship.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, engaged. It's just so fucking crazy. Can we curse on this?
Are we what?
Can we curse on this?
Yeah, you can. It's
Okay, good.
I need you to come as you are, and that's fine.
Well, Tefi says fuck, so that's who she is. But yeah, engaged. Mm.
So I just we're first in Mali, right? So how significant is your like friendship with Molly? Like is she like your biggest like cheerleader or something? Because I feel like you guys do so much together.
We do so much together, and we cannot stand each other in the way that you cannot stand your sister. You know what I mean? Where it's just like I was just telling Jason the other day. So when I first got got the opportunity or whatever to work with a writer and a producer, I asked her, and she was very much like, I don't know, like shut up, bitch. I don't know. You know, but then ever since then, everything we've done is together. But before that, we were very much like a best friend group that like best friend unit that like we would joke around together and have like great conversation together and stuff, but we never thought about going into business together because I am a lunatic. I am all over the place. I am horrible to work with. I know that I am, and I'm also not technologically savvy. Like
Hmm.
I, I don't even know how Wi-Fi really works. I think it's little particles in the air, like Willy Wonka. I have no fucking idea. But so, and then she's someone who's very like sorry, I can't hang out. I haven't cleaned. Oh, look at him. I haven't cleaned or done my laundry today. My day started horribly. I didn't make my bed today. And I'm like, you do your own laundry? Like, you know? So she's pretty significant now. I literally cannot imagine working without her because it's like any relationship. You have to have your same love language, but you have to have your same fight language. Like if you don't have the same fight language, you're not going to get over anything. And that took us maybe 74 fights
Oh,
to
that's
find find our love language.
actually
And
I
then,
was
mhm,
today, and you bring something. You're very like. Are you always like this, Tefi? Because you're
yeah, and people think I'm drunk, and it's hurtful.
no. But it's you have this thing that you're so charismatic. Like you can just light up a room, right? Like you can just light up a video. Like I listen to
Oh,
you.
you.
No, but it's true. Like you can put a story an hour long, and I will
Mhm.
watch every second of it because it's interesting, right? And
I love it.
she comes off as shy, but I can tell she's so smart. Like she, the way that you guys talk, it's like it's a great balance. I don't know if you.
Yeah. So, I think something that a partnership needs to have, whether it be look at his little head. I can't. But it's like yeah, I can. But I think for any partnership, what they need is like it's like when you do improv almost like you need to have like a straight man. There's a to every ridiculous person, there needs to be someone to say you're being fucking ridiculous, you know? And I think my whole life I've had like very severe social anxiety as like a kid. I remember being like super shy, but also very much wanting to be seen. I'm fighting myself not going into astrology. I'm fighting it. But so I would be very outgoing, but then like waiting to hear what people thought about me a lot. And then it took having like a voice of reason around me. And I have many of those people. Very weirdly, I was reading about like neediness, and I feel like one of those people who got animals during quarantine, and now the animal is like super fucking attached to them because they don't know what it's like for that person to go to work. They like live with this animal. So I felt that way very much in my relationship where he was like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. I'm like, what? Like, just did it, you know? And before we were normal, but now I'm like super. So I looked up neediness, and people who are needy tend to become friends with or date people who need a lot of validation but don't give it back. So I started recognizing that in my own relationships and some past friendships of mine, where people who are like very hard to get to know, they have a lot of barriers, a lot of boundaries, a lot of limitations, a lot of trust issues. So I used to like set myself up to like accept this challenge, like you're gonna love me, like that. And then I realized that my cup would be empty. So I think like learning how to entertain hard people, and fill in. I cannot handle an awkward silence for the life of me. Like you should have seen me on first dates. Like I'm ridiculous. But I think handling those people and those hard people, and every office has an asshole. Like trying to get on those good people's side kind of made me like an over people pleaser. And now I have people in my adult life who are friends and family who are like, you don't have to do all that. So like they balance me out in that way. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. That is amazing. Like you wanted to satisfy everyone, and now you have people that like they know you, right? Like there's nothing that you could do or cannot do that could ever
No.
that friendship or relationship. And I think that's tell me, say it.
No, I was gonna no, when you said there's nothing you could do, I'm like, they've seen me do it all and they're still around. So
At all. So there's no surprise. Like it's
yeah.
I think that's beautiful. So I don't think you know this. Well, I'm gonna first start talking like well, first I wanna ask you because there's so much I have to ask you, but
Okay. We can do it all.
when you were younger, did you ever dream of where you are now? Like
No.
no.
Never. I think I think my issue was that I come from a very conservative Colombian family where everybody like, everybody was like, "You are gonna be such a good host of a dinner party." Like, you know what I mean? Like, never you're gonna be such a good mom, or like, "Have you ever thought about getting into, like, PR?" Like, never in front of the camera, you know? And I don't think I said the word "fuck" in front of my mom till I was, like, 29. I'm 30. Like, you know, so those things are weird, and so they very much wanted me to get into, um everybody in my family's in fucking finance. And yeah, so I did that, and then I dated, I mean, we're from a what'd you say?
The extra. Like that's too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, no, a lady wouldn't do that. Tattoos? Oh my God. So with but then in school, I think I was very much like a wing woman, like a sidekick, and also we're from Miami, like machismo, like nobody wants too much attention on the girlfriend, and I had like terrible relationships, like to the point where my mom daydreams about hitting them with her car. Like I love her, but like when I was younger, I knew that I wanted attention, but I was scared to ask for it.
Mm.
So that was the thing that I like struggled with a lot. So when I would get opportunities or people would be like, "You should be an actress, you should do this, you should do that," I'd be like, "I should, but I can't." You
Why?
know?
Kidding
I think I think that I thought that I was better suited for what people were telling me I was better suited for, rather than what I thought I was suited for, you know? Like I was never like the lead dancer, but I'd make a great dance teacher, you know? Like stuff like that.
like
Or
yourself. You would
yeah, yeah, I would downplay myself a lot. And it's a self-esteem thing, but it's also believing the people around you. And it took a long time for me to realize sometimes people around you don't fucking like you. Like a
wow.
lot of the time, like I look back and I'm like, that bitch did not want you to be happy. Like there were so many times when I had this one friend who used to tell me like, you know, you look so much better in video. You're not going to post any more pictures, right? And I didn't post a picture of myself for years. Like those things are so I wish like at a younger age someone had been like, dude, fuck everybody, like how white men do.
Cool.
You know?
It's interesting because I was gonna ask you, and I don't know why I felt like this. I was gonna ask you if you would used to get bullied, and
Yeah.
just because you were you.
Yeah, a 100%. People bullied me for all types of things, but I think that like for a few years I didn't really have any friends other than the person that I was dating, because I fell into that isolation game, you know. And then if I didn't do his homework, he would like break up with me. So so my self-esteem, when that relationship broke up, I reached out to one person because I didn't have any friends anymore at that point. I reached out to one person, asked if they wanted to hang out, and I will hope I wasn't being weird, and it was Molly, which is crazy. Um, but it's definitely something where in Miami, especially, like something in the water makes you really want to be liked.
Yeah, for
Being
sure.
granito de celulitis, like
And I think also the culture. I'm also Colombian, and I think that
yeah,
there's always something that they're gonna say about you. But they don't even mean it in a bad way. It's because also I think sometimes they grew up with that too, where it's everything is like they're so aware of like, did you move a finger? Did you sit like this? Did you get up again? So then you become very like self-aware and you want to like satisfy every single person, and that's impossible. Like that's
yeah. Yeah, and it's like, I'm sorry that you grew up to be a princess,
impossible.
but I take the bus every day to A&M. So,
You want
no. Like, I'm sorry that you grew up to be a princess, but I'm like taking the bus to go places. So it's not going to apply in this reality, you
so
know?
you were born here or you were born in Colombia?
No, I was born in Miami. I was born in Miami. My mom is from Medellin. She was born in Bogota, but she grew up in Medellin. My dad's from Brazil, but him and I are not close. So I consider myself both Colombian and Brazilian, but obviously my heritage and my culture and my house leans very much towards
Colombia.
Colombia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. Do you know your dad? Or
Yeah, I know my dad. Hey, Reiner. I know my dad. We just don't get along. We don't get along. But it's weird because he had a daughter when I was 13 with my stepmom. And I never saw I stopped speaking to my dad when I was like 15. So the last time I saw this baby, she was 2 years old, the size of a cashew, like, you know. And this girl DMs me one day, and she's like, "Hey, my friend sent me your TikTok. I'm your sister." I was like, "Motherfucker." And I called my brother, and I was like, "Oh, Esteban, did you know that our sister's on Instagram?" He's like, "Yeah, I blocked her. Why?" I'm like, "Tú eres qué curicao?" Like, I was like, you wouldn't even, one, you didn't tell me. Two, you didn't warn me. Three, you blocked her. Like,
Uh,
so so he is present in my life in many ways because he is my father, and he is the funniest guy in the entire world. I always compare him to like Danny DeVito and Matilda. Like he could get you to buy his car and sell it back to him, like no problem. You know, like he's very like that, and charming, hysterical, whatever. But we just don't get along, and I get a lot of that from him. And if my mom hears this, Mom, I also get it from you.
there you go.
I can't.
Love your mom, right? Like always.
Yes,
Uh,
always.
Mom, also. That's amazing. Um, wow. Okay, so what did you learn from A&M? I know you went to high school in A&M.
To
You
never go back.
never go. It doesn't exist anymore, right?
No, I don't talk to anybody from A&M.
It doesn't exist
But
actual
what?
the building. It's done. Like it doesn't.
Oh, the building is done. Yeah, I heard that.
But it's no longer A&M.
Yeah, it's like an abandoned place with like graffiti and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Crazy.
oh, you didn't have a good experience at A&M?
I had a terrible experience at A&M. There were way too many girls and like four boys, and and two of them were gay. Like, it was a terrible experience only because I didn't. I think I came from a school. I was there for the last 2 years, and I came from a school where I was well received, and I got to A&M and I was not well received. And but I did for the first time. Like I hadn't danced in like 5 years when I got to A&M. I started dancing again, which is great, and it was a great form of like exercise and whatever. At least I got my workout in, and like I was in theater for a while, so that was really really fun. And then I was able to get into college that I later dropped out of, and it was, yeah, I dropped out. I went to like four universities, and I dropped out of all of them. I couldn't do it because I was working already full time as a wardrobe stylist, like as an assistant wardrobe stylist to a celebrity stylist. So if Sofia Vergara's assistant calls you and is like, "Do you want to take your math final? Do you want to come style her for her new clothing line?" Yeah, I'm gonna go to fucking New York. I'm gonna miss the math final. You know.
So you graduated and then you went to college, then you stopped, and then you started working. Like you were working as a stylist.
I was working at the same time I was like studying, and that's what fucked me up. I think.
How did
You
you
know,
and why?
my well, I always had an affinity for fashion, and I told my mom like I'm gonna drop out, and she was like, "Please don't do that. Your grandfather will literally face plant into the earth. Like, please don't do that." And pobrecito, like he died like last year, and I think he thought I was still in college. Like he's so pobrecito. And so she was like, "If I get you an internship, will you continue to stay in school?" And I was like, "Yeah, Mom, you're gonna get me a fashion internship." Her best friend is friends with Irma Martinez, who is a celebrity stylist, and she got me the interview. And at the interview with her, she was like, "I don't really have time for an assistant, but I love like your references, like they're friends of mine, so I'll take you on. But I don't know how long you're gonna last." And I worked with her for like 5 years. So, and how was it? It was so fun. It was so fun. It taught me like really hard work. I was working like 80-hour weeks
Wow.
for no pay because I loved it. I had such a good fucking time. They would pay my gas, but that was enough for me because I was living at home, and gas and my Marlboros. I was smoking like a motherfucker. So, so like that's what they would pay for, and I was living at home, and she fed me, so I was fine with it. I didn't really give a shit because I got to touch Ricky Martin. So, who's really winning? But And after that, I remember watching people on camera and being like, I wish I could do that, but I never had like the balls to,
Wait,
you
so
know?
that was the first time you got a taste of camera and crew and stuff, and you were like,
And
"Name it?"
or meeting talented people who worked really, really hard and that were extremely famous and were extremely kind. Like you kind of like lose humanity within people, and you start to like idolize this like celebrity culture, and then like you get to meet these people that you've read about your whole life. Or who knew Paulina Rubio lives 50 minutes away from me? So like you meet these people and they're so wonderful and they're so open with their life, and suddenly these things become like possible.
Right, right, right.
So
So then you moved to New York. Why did you move to New York, and was that difficult for you?
well, I went to Colombia to study Spanish for like 6 months, and I had a terrible eating disorder and I needed to get away. Like I just needed like a TO from life, and everything in Colombia is so obviously I understand it's not like Sandals, Jamaica. Like I understand that it's like a city, but all my memories there were so great and I have such loving family over there that I just needed a timeout from like getting fucked up every day and not wanting to eat. Like I just wanted to like relax. So I did that, and I studied Spanish over there, Preferito Imperfecto, which I forgot the moment I left. But like I took all these courses and I took cooking classes and I took yoga classes and meditation. I did some Tai Chi. Like it was super fun. And then my mom texted me. Well, she texted me and she was like, I think it's time for you to come back to Miami. And I was like, I don't want to go back to Miami. There's nothing for me in Miami. I don't want to go back. And she was like, why don't you run away to New York? Everybody should run away to New York for like a year. And I was like, oh, okay.
I
So
love
then
that.
she lived here for 8 years and she met my dad in New York. So they met at Trump Tower.
Oh, what?
They met at Trump Tower. Yeah. He asked her for directions at Trump Tower. I know. Um, so funny. But she, so yeah, she was like, everybody should run away or whatever. But I have family in Connecticut. She's like, you can stay with my sister for like a few weeks until you get a job or whatever. And I got an internship with Kelly Catrone from the Hills or whatever, like that fashion lady, whatever. And I worked with her for like 3-4 months, and then I continued in marketing.
So I want to go back to your eating disorder if I could.
Yeah, yeah. I love that little bitch.
No, I also had a 6-year bulimia and anorexia.
Yeah, I flirted with all of them.
You did. How
Yeah,
how long did you suffer with that for?
for at least 8 years.
Oh my.
From at least, yeah, at least 8 years or so. It was like an ongoing thing. And then but recovery is super difficult because you can be so great for like a year and it's just like one bad day or like one trigger. Like one of my like really big triggers was paella, like because my grandma makes a fucking bomb paella. And it was paella and a casserole my mom would make because it's a tuna casserole. A tuna casserole sounds disgusting, but I think my mom sprinkles crack on top of it. So when you no longer have the mental capacity to understand a serving size because everything is either way too much or way too little, you're never full and you're always
Yeah.
scared. So when that goes out the door, um I would the guilt and the shame that I would feel because didn't have real life goals, but I knew that I could be prettier in my mind. If I was just prettier, maybe the store would open for me. If I was just prettier, my boyfriend would be nicer to me. If I was prettier, I'd get more opportunity. It's just like, and I know very, very, very thin people who are fucking miserable, and but you learn that as you get older.
It was never enough, and you were not getting free.
Yeah.
It was all like
No.
a mental illness. It is a mental health.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the first time I ever heard anyone on social media speak on it was you in
Oh.
in Que Pena podcast. The first time you did it with Molly, and I wrote to you, I think, because I also like was um I remember one day after, but that wasn't about my eating disorder, but it was just about, because I just went sober too. Like I've been
Mhm.
sober for 11 months. And I remember I was on a Sunday, completely hungover. I was listening to Kepena, and I was like, you guys, like, just your transparency about mental health was
Mhm.
so honest and to the point. I was just like, wow, like it made me feel better. Like I'm not the only
Good.
one with this bad voices in my head. So after you went to Colombia, you came back. Is that when you decided to kind of be open about mental health?
I have never, ever felt shame about it because I know that I come from a very traditional Colombian house. But we love therapy in my house, and we love feelings in my house. Like, it was very so when people talk about, like, "Oh, well, this stigma," I was like, "Not in my house." Like, there's stigma against, like, you can't go into the room with a boy alone, like, obviously, like, stuff like my mom's not una loca, but very much like, if you need help, ask me. Like, the day that I told my mom, like, "Mom, I don't have a grip on my life," she's like, "Nos vamos a Colombia," and I went the next day. Like, very hands-on. So for me to talk about it, I had already been going to therapy since I was a little girl. Like my mom would say, like, you go to the gym for your body and you go to therapy for your mind. I've been going to therapy for so long that to me these things were, and I also would change therapists sometimes because I would catch myself lying to them. They'd be like, "Are you taking advantage of like your alone time when you eat?" Meaning like, "Are you throwing up? Are you doing this? Are you taking laxatives? Are you doing this? Are you counting calories? Are you not eating all day so you can drink your calories later? Like, what are you doing?" And if I would lie, I'd be like, I have to change therapists or whatever. So it was an open conversation all the time. But I think what fucked me up a lot is that I would go to these like therapy groups in Colombia at this place called Equilibrio, which is like for girls that suffer from, I want to say like girls who cut, which is the first time I was exposed to that, and girls who suffer from eating disorders, and sometimes both. And a lot of their problems were so deep rooted, but it was all group, and you would all talk about it, right? So if this 11-year-old girl next to me says, "I started cutting and I don't eat because at dinner my dad rapes me," and I'm sitting here, how am I not going to share my story if she's being so brave and open? So I just got kind of like used to it. So my background in therapy, like being actively talking about your feelings, and then seeing so many brave people talk about themselves, I guess, and also just being in New York when nobody gives a fuck, you know, I
I
could literally come out, titties out, and nobody would even blink at me. So it was just normal. And then as the more that I talked about it, more people were like, "Oh my God, me too." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna keep talking about it."
love that, and I think that there's power in talking 100%. Like just like me, that I heard the podcast, I was like, it made me feel better. Like that bad day,
Amazing.
it's a bad day, but not a bad life. Like sometimes
Hmm.
bad days you encounter things like that you're just like, oh, I feel so much better. Like so
Yeah.
when you get triggered or when you get anxiety, because I don't know if it happens with you too, but like, after that,
Yeah.
it's all anxiety. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Anxiety is me. Yeah, I have anxiety.
I can't
Yes.
look people in the eye. Like,
Yeah.
do you go to Molly and do you go to Jason? Do you go to your mom?
I
Like,
go to my mom. I go to my mom because Jason and my mom, and I think like one other person that I know, have never experienced anxiety or depression. Never. So in that way, they may not know how to help me, but they are good anchors.
I like that. I like
You
that.
know?
Actually, that's so good because I'm gonna be honest here. Last night I had like a mental like crying for no reason.
Oh, I love it.
And
Mhm.
my boyfriend's mind is so strong. Like he's just like he sat next to me and he was just there for me. And I think that's so necessary, right? And sometimes you're just like
Yeah.
"I'm crying too," and it's like, no, I think it's better that we're both not like that.
No, no, because it'd be a sinking ship. I think it's also um interesting to see people who don't suffer from that um look at you and say like, "Well, do you think that's true?" And you're like, "I don't think it's true. It feels true." And they're like, "How many times have you felt something to be true and not and it not be logical, or there's no physical evidence of that?" So that I started doing that a lot. Like, I might feel like somebody fucking hates me, but what is the evidence of that? I none. or I've texted my friends. Like, I'm very open with my, like, I have like 20 people in my life that are all from Miami. I did not branch out at all, but I'll text them and be like, hey, I'm being really sensitive this week. Can you not like pick on me? Because we tease each other. We're friends,
That's
you
good.
know?
Yeah.
I don't like hiding anything because I think with, especially with having an eating disorder, when it comes to like alcoholism or drug addiction, nobody's going up to drug addicts and alcoholics saying you look so good. And you cannot go to a bar and you can avoid going to like your a drug dealer's house or that corner or whatever, but you have to face food 3 times a day, and people are complimenting you all the time, whether they know it or not. So I have to, I kind of learned to be like vocal about it. When people are like, oh my God, you've lost weight, you look so good, and being like, that's not okay to say, and I'm actually going through a really hard time, you
Oh,
know. So
so good, Tefi. That is so good because oh my God, I'm like, yeah, I went through all of that too. Like I remember at my job, my clients would just walk in and be like, you've gained weight. You look fatter. Just like that. Like blurt it out. And I'm like, yeah, I wanted to
people do that.
that time I was 85 pounds because I had a
Hmm.
disorder.
Hmm.
But you have
Hmm.
to think about that and now you're telling me how I look fat. And I don't look fat because I'm not, you know what I mean? It's like whatever.
Hmm.
Whew.
Totally, totally,
The
yeah.
tip is why did you stop doing it and then you went into the YouTube channel just so you could have enough?
Well, no, I got hired. So we were doing the podcast, and then we got hired. I got hired by a production company to host this show, and I got to pick my own team. And they were very much like, you pick your own team. If it does well, we'll keep you on. And if it does poorly, like we'll give you like 10 episodes, and then you can take that as like a reel and go to another company or something. So I asked Molly to do it, and it was live every day at noon. So you wring your brain. Molly and I would get to the office at 8, and by 12:30 we'd have to be live, and we had tech at 11. So with a whole other crew, and figure all that shit out, and have the animators up to date too, and edits, and then read the teleprompter twice. So you're like, it's fucking going creatively like this, and then to get home and then talk about more shit, absolutely not. So we were just like creatively putting all of our energy into this show that we were doing together. So like the podcast, the show ended, and we were like, we still have things that we want to say. Oh, and under contract with that show, I wasn't allowed to host anything else as long as I was doing that show. I was under contract, so I couldn't. So Molly could technically host Kipina alone, and I would be a reoccurring guest, but that sucks.
Yeah,
So so that was it. That was the kind of deal why we stopped it. But then we ramped it up again when we were like, when people kept asking, why don't you just do the podcast again?
yeah.
And so I was, whatever, fuck it, you know.
You're so back and I'm so excited. It's so good. I was listening to it this week. Um you guys are so cool. Like you guys were like about nothing and everything. And you guys get
Yeah,
so stuff about how you hate Emily in Paris, but as
I
soon as
hate that bitch.
like there's a Paris to
I visit Paris back screen.
that's
I
so
just like, I can't. I watched the half episode, and they're like, oh God, I guess you're going to Paris. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Get the fuck. And Molly, but I'm very much someone that's like, that's not the way it works, and I wish that would have happened to me. I can't fucking watch. And Molly's like, wow, like, you know. So it's very different.
Did you think
Whatever.
Jason was gonna propose to you?
Did I know? I knew that Jason asked for my ring size, and I knew that I was sending him rings every day. So
My God, what?
every day, I was like, "Did you check your DM? I sent you a ring that I like." Yeah. So
I love that.
uh, I'm fucking like, give me a break. I've known, like, we were coming on 3 fucking years. I'm like, I've already been the best version of myself. It all comes down from here. Like the first year, that was the nicest I'm ever gonna fucking be, like
Right.
ever. And I'm not getting any younger, and that's it. So, and I'm not trying to be a 40-year-old bride either. No, much love to them, of course, but I don't want that for myself. You know, I want to have babies when I'm like fucking 40, when I'm like done, but like not get married.
Right.
So that day I got a haircut, and I knew that I had a feeling that he was going to propose to me because I was opening up an underwear drawer, and he's like, don't, be careful, don't break your nails. Never in my life has a man ever fucking said that to me. Ever. And I was like, okay, I have a feeling. So, and then he was like, "Do you want to go to the park later and meet up with our friends?" And I was like, "The park?" And so I told the hairstylist that I was with, "I think he's gonna propose to me today. Am I being crazy?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're probably being crazy, you know." Because Jason was bachelor number one. Nobody ever thought he would ever have
Wait,
a serious girlfriend, you
wait,
know.
how did you guys meet? Is he from Miami? Is he from New York?
No, he's from Cleveland, Ohio,
Wow, all the
end of
way.
the world. Yes. I was
Mhm.
like, he was like, "You know where that is?" I'm like, "If you gave me a map of the United States right now, I cannot fucking tell." But I know you know where Miami is. But I met him on Tinder. I met him on Tinder, and when I met him, I was like unemployed, and then I was totally unemployed, and I was like in between jobs, and I was doing like freelance work and whatever, and working with friends and crying to my mom all the time. And then I met him, and he was just like, so we just didn't stop hanging out. And since I didn't have a job and I was just going to the gym all day, and he's an agent for models. So he was just like on his phone anyway. We'd just talk all fucking day, and then we would just hang out all day. And then one day I just like didn't leave, and that's it. So, but he's an Aquarius, I'm a Cancer. The odds. Who knew? Who
I'm so
knew?
happy for you. Do you want a big wedding or a small wedding or a
I'm
chill?
getting married in Medellin
Oh,
next September.
I'm so excited. That's beautiful. Is it like a farm? No, you don't know yet. Or you know.
We got the venue. Yeah,
The next that he proposed, I called in and they got it.
absolutely,
I'm happy.
absolutely. My mom screamed. My mom. Well, I mean, I'm the first one to get engaged. You know, but she's like one. I got one. And my brother and my sister. Like my sister has a girlfriend that she lives with. Like she's in a relationship with the most lovely girl in the entire world, and we're very happy for her. But I don't think. I think they're way cooler than me, and they don't want to get married. I think they're very much like, we don't need the piece of paper. I'm like, I need ese papelito like now,
Dress and the
now.
did
Yeah.
you want to get married? Like, was that a dream? You know how some little girls grow up with like, I know exactly what dress I want. I know what church. Is it gonna be at a church?
Yeah. Yes. My family is not that cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought about getting married every fucking day of my life because yo quiero esa rumba. Like I want that fucking party, you know. And I love my partnership. I love having a partner who also like I can get on top of the yo soy una loca. Like I'll get on the bar and he'll hold my purse and he'll take pictures of me, and I love it, you know. And he doesn't need that. A lot of the time, I've been in relationships with people who very much needed to be like the star, like the focus of a narcissist, you know? And he doesn't ask anything of me. So
God, I'm so happy for you guys. I truly am. Do you
I'm
see
happy
yourself
to be here
in New York for the
to the
for,
day I die.
yeah?
Well, the thing is I grew up every day of my life until my grandfather passed away or until I moved to New York. Every day of my life, I saw my grandparents. There was not a day that I didn't have like dinner with them or lunch with them, or one of them took me to school. Like I had a great relationship with my grandparents, and they very much my three parents, my grandfather, my grandmother, and my mother, like 100%. And I would love for my children one day to have that relationship with their grandparent, which is my mom, and she'd be a great abuela. She'd be great, you know. But I don't want to live in Miami because I feel like opportunity is more here in New York than in Miami. Like I don't. When I was working in Miami in wardrobe and stuff, when I would work with people who were doing like TV or anything creative, I was always at Telemundo or Univision, you know. So I don't know. And but the world is changing and everything is digital.
Yeah, that's true.
So I love Miami if everyone could just leave.
I just want for me.
Well, I think the people there are still very, it's weird because Miami is the most, very much Birdcage, Robin Williams with Nathan Lane, like very much that, but also very much House on the Prairie. Like very traditionalism is big, abuelita is big, you know, like very conservative
Yeah,
but at the same time, like uh, love to party, tomamos algo, like, you know.
yeah, that's
So So that machista stuff that I experienced at a young age, and like kind of knowing like a woman's place, or like you'd be a great wife one day and stuff like that. Like my mom was never fucking like that. It was my family. My mom was always like, get married when you're like 30 fucking 8, have an empire, and do all the things that you can do. Like if you want to take acting classes, but you act like it wasn't my mom that was like putting me down. It was the people around me. So that's what I worry about, growth for people. But obviously, there are a lot of confident people in Miami too. Like there's a lot of successful people. That just wasn't my experience. You know.
Right. Wow. So what's next for you, Tefi? What do you want?
Bitch, I don't know. I mean, like, fucking, Molly and I are working. The show ended because of Corona, right? And they sold us the show for like $100, like the company that I work for. God bless them. I love them. And I was able to build more of a fan base on Tickety Talk. So while Molly and I work on expanding the podcast and expanding, like my TikTok, and because she helps me with a lot of it. And while we sell the show, we're also thinking of like other things that we can do too. Like we're looking into doing scripted stuff and like having an ensemble cast, like stuff like that or whatever. Or yeah, just writing skits together or something like that, and just kind of expanding upon the creative process, because I feel like nobody needs like a career title anymore. You just need to do things, like you just, especially if you are somebody in a creative field, you can call yourself an actor all day, but you need to be acting somewhere. And like we have screens all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure, it's not fucking Broadway. TikTok isn't Broadway, but I mean, at least you're doing things. So I think what's next for me personally would probably be to run the world. Just run. But Molly and I are like looking at different ways that we can do different shows at different networks and have this and have that. So just so much.
I know. Do you actually, talking about so much, do you ever
Hmm.
get a lot of like, because you're known, like you're pretty much like you're public,
God.
people reach out to you, I'm sure, like little girls, young girls, adults, guys, whatever it is. How do you handle criticism or like weird DMs or like
Okay. One, men do not DM me and hit on me. I was expecting a dick pic. One, I don't get anything. I don't get. It's all the girls and the gays. All the girls and the gays. But of course, I get a ton of hate, just because like women can't be fucking funny, and I'm like, your dad laughed at my jokes all night. Like, I think that 9 times out of 10, it's not worth answering to. And I think a lot of the time, I've caught like a couple people that I've known personally, um, sending me hate shit, like or like being very shady towards me, and immediately now I just like block. But before, I'd be like, let's fucking do this. But then at the end of it, like it never feels good. So when I first started, and I got like, when I had like fan bases kind of reach out to me and say like, what's up, you ugly piece of shit, I would respond back. But then you realize they're either 13, 12. These are little fucking kids,
yeah,
and they don't even know what they're saying.
right.
And one of my friends that I love, Lindsay, we're really good friends now, but when she was younger, she was a little shit, and she would tell me all the time, she's like, you can trolling Taylor Swift, you're gonna get an answer. You know what I mean? Like, fine, you might get them with the Taylor Swift, I love you, but Taylor Swift, I fucking hate you, like, you ugly bitch, whatever. And her say fuck you, you're like, oh my god, she answered me like that. And when she was a little kid, obviously, Lindsay's a grown woman now, and she doesn't do that shit. But like when you're a little kid, I think bad attention is still attention. So
Right.
that's what people are looking for, and people love that stimuli, and some people love the back and forth. I'm a Cancer. I can't do it. I
Right.
can't do it. So I think now, that's the bad part about the internet. It can feel so real.
It's
And
not.
it's not. And honestly, I think also when the show started picking up, or like people started to like what I said. Like I remember like when I first started talking to my phone a lot, like to my Instagram stories, a lot of people were like, delete it, that's so embarrassing. And I was like, no, fuck you. um I started to get like nervous about things that I was embarrassed. We all have things that are embarrassing to us, like or that we feel shame about, that we don't want people to know. There are things that are extremely private. Like, even you can be the most open book in the world, but you still have things that are like very private. I started to worry about people finding that out. From like, we all have a bitch we used to be friends with that we don't fucking like anymore. And like you don't want her fucking talking to some stupid piece of shit blog, and I used to worry about that. And then I went through every single thing that I was like scared of people finding out, and I was like, and you know what, none of that defines, like, none of that would ever encapsulate who I am or the way that I make people feel. So I don't really give a fuck. I could be riddled with syphilis, and I think I would still be able to like touch somebody. So I don't give a fuck.
That's
And
funny.
honestly, if I was riddled with syphilis, I'm already engaged. Like, I'm not gonna fuck your man. What do you want from me? You know?
Do you still go to therapy?
Yeah, I'm so good at therapy. Yes. I go to a psychiatrist and I go to a psychologist, and they both work within the same practice. So they I guess they work together or whatever. But the psychiatrist is more to deal with my anxiety and my depression, and the psychologist is more like, so I was thinking about this one thing that this person said to me 6 years ago, or whatever. And mainly dealing with like intrusive thoughts, those thoughts that tell you like you can't do it, or like everyone's gonna laugh at you, and learning how to like sit with those thoughts and whatever.
Right. I love that so much. I love that you take care of yourself and you're not afraid to do so. I think a lot of the times people more than we know, people go through this, like anxiety, fear, insecurities, doubt, and like that is just a real thing. And if we're not taking care of it, I mean, it
Yeah.
can
Take over. Well, Jason's from the Midwest. He's from Ohio, right? So therapy for them is 3 Budweisers.
right.
Like, that therapy is not a fucking thing. And so for him, and mind you, I said that he doesn't suffer anxiety. I've never seen somebody smoke more weed. So I was like, honey, you might have a little anxiety. So I think we all like deal with things in certain ways, but however he's handling it is working for him. And whatever the way that I'm handling it, like, I journal like a maniac. Like, that shit looks like Gothica. That is a dark place, like, journal. But I needed to talk about it, whatever. And Molly does different stuff, and my mom does different stuff, or whatever. But for me, talking to a stranger helps me personally.
Hypnosis?
Have I ever done hypnosis? I'm dying to.
You should. It's the best.
Oh,
Best.
I'm dying to.
I mean, it worked for me. I mean, I don't know. I think everyone's different and everyone has had different journey, but it was something else. I don't know. I really wanted to just put that out there.
One of my mom's friend was an avid smoker. I'm talking like chain smoker. Like, could not get to the appetizer without 3 cigarettes at a restaurant. Like, when people used to be able to smoke indoors. And she went to a hypnotist and she never touched a cigarette again.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
It actually helped me a lot with my eating disorder as well later on. And I've been recovered for 5 years, obviously, but I have my days. And it helped me a lot with my child abuse. Like, it's like what you go through and then you see it's something else.
That's what people say about ayahuasca. Like the ayahuasca, like the
Drink that you take
yes,
or something. Is it Peru?
yeah, that it's Peru. It's Peruvian. Jamás en mi vida, because I can't even smoke weed. You think I'm gonna do ayahuasca?
Like the paranoia,
No, I
my
can't.
anxiety goes to 1,000.
I'm like this the whole time. Absolutely not. Exacto. No. But people, can you believe him putting on music right now?
Oh,
Absolutely.
I don't hear it. I don't hear
Oh,
it.
good. So rude.
I don't hear it at
Yeah.
all.
Well, yeah. So apparently people say ayahuasca is like the same thing. It's 10 years of therapy in one night. I'd rather do the 10 years, girl. I'd rather do the 10 years.
One day at a time is my
Yeah.
one.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. Exacto. Absolutely not. Mm-hmm.
What would you say to This is actually my last question because
Mhm.
I don't know the last question. I'm gonna end up with more of you. And anyway,
I
um,
love it.
what do you say to right now? One of the biggest, I think, struggles is comparing yourself to others.
Oh.
With me, and actually, that's why I had my mental breakdown yesterday because I
Mhm.
was like comparing myself to the other person, and out of nowhere, you're focusing on everything that you're lacking, and you're not focusing on what you actually do have. So, what do you say to that girl at home watching your stuff and comparing herself to you and feeling bad about her abilities? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, the comparison monster, I call it. Especially on Instagram, like, everything is so perfect, and I had to unfollow anybody, even, like, friends of mine that just, gave them 10 out of 10 bods, like, they're like, "Oops, I sneezed, I have abs," like, those girls. Like, I've had to, like, mute them and stuff, like, the comparison game will rob you of joy. I do get messages a lot from, girls, and, I think that for me, the compare for okay, so um, I have a unique, resume where I something that brings me back to planet Earth is I worked with people who are beautiful and successful. I worked with people who are size double zeros. I'll never forget the talent that sobbed right before they had to get on camera because they were so unhappy, because their family was falling apart, because their boyfriend broke up with them, because they're in a fight with their best friend, because they're broke. I'll never forget models that couldn't come out because they had taken too many laxatives and stuff like that. Like, and then also I had a friend a long time ago. I'm not friends with her anymore because she's insane. But when I first moved to New York, he made a lot of special characters, and she was very much had like hundreds of thousands of followers, and I had maybe 40. So she seemed like, and you look at her Instagram, and it was just beautiful, and she was very much like into fitness and like fashion, fitness and fashion or whatever. Her car didn't have a steering wheel. She, like, lived at home. She didn't have any fucking money. Her boyfriend was mean as fuck. Like, it just so every time I play the comparison game with myself, I just have to like it's kind of like body dysmorphia. Like you have to kind of like touch your body and be like that what I think is not my body, what is my body, and I love it for what it is. Like the same thing you have to do with your own life. It's too much focusing on what we don't have, and we forget all the chickens that we've already counted, the things that we do have. And now look at somebody and be like, oh my God, I pray to God, that that is a happy relationship. I see a lot people, couples that I know too, posting a lot about the relationship and knowing how unhappy they are. So having that perspective of like, this is an illusion. Like, this is 100% illusion. There are so many days when I filmed the show or did the podcast where Jason and I were fighting like fucking animals. And I'm like, hi, welcome back to the show. Like, it's all fucking fake. And I try to be as authentic as possible. I've never like photoshopped a picture of mine or face tuned it. Like, that is my fucking body. And I'm a woman. We have a different body every fucking week.
Sure.
It's a different body.
Right.
So when it comes to the comparison game or whatever we play, it's treated like an intrusive thought. And my therapist says when you have an intrusive thought, you lean into it, you welcome it, you let it explain itself, and then you hug it and you wish it well and you let it leave. And then you can think about it later, or whatever. But whatever you're seeing, whatever you want, why do you want it? What is that trigger for you? Like, oh, I love her body or whatever. Well, you could go work out and you could diet, but like, what about this person is making you feel lesser about yourself? Because another person's beauty does not make you less beautiful, you know? So like Adriana Lima is gorgeous, but that doesn't mean that I'm any less beautiful, you know? And she is gorgeous. That stupid bitch. She's so beautiful. you know?
No, but so are you. And honestly, this was such an honor, Tefi,
Oh, stop it.
because I love how you're using your everything. I think that's so important when you have a platform, when you have there's nothing better than transparency. I
Yeah,
truly,
it's nice.
the more that time goes by, I'm like, oh, I get attracted to your Instagram. I get attracted to who you are. Like,
Oh, thank you.
you say and how you carry yourself and how you're so funny, but you're so deep and you're so just like yeah, for real. Like I admire that, and I'm so happy that you accepted this interview with.
Oh, of course. Of course. It's quarantine. Like, of course.
I
Of
wish
course.
you the
Mhm.
best all the time, and I'm so excited for what's gonna come to you, because I truly do believe that the best days are coming for you and for everyone, Ethan and Molly, and I'm so for the strong team that you have. Um,
It's
and
coming for you too, you little bitch. It's coming for you too. Yes.
for us, I truly believe that, and I'm super
Yeah.
excited. And yeah, I'm gonna look forward to what you're gonna do next. I'm gonna look forward to the next. When is the next episode of Que Pena coming out?
I think tomorrow, because Molly and I are recording tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see. We try to do it like bi-weekly or
Right.
whatever, and when like cool stuff is happening, but Molly and I can't shut the fuck up, so we're trying for bi-weekly.
So
So, but I'll definitely be posting about it
I am
for sure.
excited to listen to the new one. And oh, you're so cute. You're so awesome.
Well, let me know when this is out, and so I can post it too. Yeah, so I can post it on stories and links and stuff like that. Duh,
You know, I hope that you enjoyed it,
of course.
and yeah,
Jason, did you enjoy it?
Jason
Because
too.
I sure did. Yeah, he's been on the couch the whole time.
I love. Yeah, it was great to see you, Tefi. Thank
It's
you.
good to see you too. Okay, let me know if you need anything, okay?
I will. You're awesome. Have fun tonight. I don't know what you're gonna do. What are you gonna do tonight?
I'm gonna eat dinner. I'm gonna go to bed.
What?
Or Jason and I actually have this game called the Intimacy Game by this company called Best Self. And it's like 5 different categories. It's like one is random, the past, family, friends. And you pick it up and it's like, what's your biggest fear about your future family? And you like get to talk about it. So we try to do it like once a week.
That is.
And it's, I think we're gonna do that. It's so great.
I need
I
to.
love the idea.
Oh my god.
I'll send you the link for it. I'll send you the link for it.
Because I'm down to do that too.
Maybe they'll sponsor your podcast if you send it to them. They will. They'll do it. Brands love that shit.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I'll send it to you. All right, girl.
Alrighty, it was so good to see you. Oh wait, don't go.
All
I
right, tell me.
want to take a
Tell
picture.
me.
I want to take a picture.
Oh, let's do it.